I think they're going to be quite controversial. We're going to see a big change in who's going to be in the parliament, but whether they will have a long-term effect, I still doubt. In the end, we have a system which will continue to function.
In my opinion, what we will see is that there will be at the same time change and also business as usual. In terms of changes, I fear that we are to expect some mixed changes and mostly not very positive. In terms of, we've seen that until now European elections have been a big outlet for frustrations. And I think that we will see this trend continuing. That actually the voters who will show up, and as we know the turnout is usually low at the European Parliament elections, and I don't expect it to be much higher this time. But I do think that the voters who will turn up more passionately will be those who are critical of the European project. And therefore I think that the concerns about extremisms being emboldened from either the right wing or the left wing, or some new actors that are not part of the status quo, I think that this is a trend we're going to see, that we'll have some new players on board. On the other hand, I also think that at the end of the day, there is the likelihood that the status quo, in a way or the other, will be kept in the way that the equilibrium of the European Parliament will work ultimately.
I think, again, European Parliament elections are very much fought along national lines in member states. So I think turnout is very much a function of national politics. If we take countries like Slovakia or Slovenia, where turnout has been very, very low, I mean, in the 20s basically, I don't see a difference there. People, if anything, have become more disappointed in politics over the last 5 years. In other countries, maybe there are more battles to be fought, so that might increase turnout, but with the risk that it's going to be a vote of populists. So it will be a test for the Lega in Italy, for example, the Salvini's government. Will he be able to translate his popularity into election results? In France, it might be a high turnout against Macron. So we see that, often national battles are fought in the European Parliament. So turnout can be high in some places, but I wouldn't interpret it necessarily as meaning high support for the EU, but rather in terms of the sense that some citizens want to voice their dissatisfaction with governments.
The biggest winner are going to be the more extremists, the anti-Europeans, the populists, the nationalists. We will see big losers among the traditionally pro-European parties, particularly the traditional left. And we will have to see how we can get a broad coalition together for the next Commission, but also for the other top jobs in the European Union. I would guess the European Commission President is still going to be EPP, but we shall see how exactly the constellation works.
Even though the socialists are likely to lose votes and maybe ALDE, the liberals, will gain some, but there is the chance that we'll see a grand compromise coming about. And I do not think that if this comes true, so if the status quo is kept in the equilibrium, I actually think this would be a negative development. And it will be negative precisely because it would embolden even more those calls that are asking for a disruption of the status quo. And I think that the European Union really has the urgency to heed those calls and to understand where all the protesters, those who are criticizing the European project, are coming from, if it is to reform itself.